My name is Heidi Marja Norman, and this is my podcast, Love, Joy, and Heartset. Today, I am really excited about having my teacher, Coco Berlin, with me here today. She is a certified pelvic floor expert, movement therapist, and the author of the best-selling book, Pussy Yoga, Pelvic Floor Training for Radiance, Confidence, and a Fulfilling Love Life. It is published in Germany, but it has also been translated into English, French, Chinese, and Polish. She is the founder of the pelvic floor integration method and sensual dance workout, Pussy Yoga, and an essential of belly dance program. I am so honored to have her with me today, and she works with women to and help them to reconnect with their body and to step into their power with confidence and ease. Not just about feeling sexy. Coco approach prioritize women's health. For over 15 years, Coco's classes, online courses, and teacher training has moved over 7 million women worldwide. Her method is taught by instruction in 26 countries. She has been a regular guest on German national TV, and she has worked with brands such as Hilton, L'Oreal, and BMW. Coco has also been featured in top media across Europe, such as Guardian, Cosmopolitan, and BBC. Coco and her husband has moved the world, traveled the world for years, and they are currently living in the Canary Islands in Spain. I'm so happy to get you to know her and to hear our podcast. Enjoy. I am so happy to have Coco Berlin here with me today, and please, can you tell a little bit about yourself and your journey, and also how you find your passion in life?
Hello, Heidi. I'm so happy to be here on your amazing podcast. I'm Coco Berlin. At the moment, I'm in Gran Canaria. We've been traveling the world, and I grew up in Poland. I have a long story, and my passion has always been curiosity, finding out how things work. I was always wondering, why is it like this? Why not like this? What is going on? Who's God? What happens after we die? And there were no answer. And I was a very lonely kid. I was also quite traumatized. So I was with me in this role. And I think like this is like what really drives me, finding things out. And also because I grew up so lonely and so traumatized, also connecting with people and relations, healing, like connecting with women, connecting with the world. So like that's like all of it somehow in a nutshell.
Yes, and then you said that you were traumatized. Can you tell a little bit more about it?
Yeah, it's a long story, but basically it was an abusive childhood. So my parents were not able to love me, and you know, I was handed around here and there, I was beaten a lot, you know, so I never had the feeling that I belong, I'm safe, I'm home. Like it was always like this, you know, I lived basically in terror or like,
Wow.
like just not being there, you know, and I was always wondering, how do people know what they're doing? They're laughing, running, doing, and I had really no idea what was going on. I was really like standing besides me, like, or like floating above me. I was always wondering, what is this like here in the world? So it's actually like when you look at it, it's actually quite funny how I ever got out of this without any therapy, because I basically really got out there myself through this, you know, like through all of this. I still always had this curiosity and this passion and this not understanding, or like, this can't be, it can't be that I'm so awful, that I'm so hated, you know, because I believe we're all are part of one big entity, like one big life, one big consciousness. So, you know, I felt this. I felt it can't be that I'm just the horrible thing that my parents and then later in school, everybody told me I was. And somehow, you know, through music and dance and hope, I started getting into my body. And I really am so grateful that I got onto this path to really knowing that this is the key, really getting into the body, being here, becoming alive. And then I did all the things, you know, I did whatever I could, dancing, ballet, watching movies with dancers, playing music, dancing in my own little world. And then it really worked, you know, so step by step, I got like real friends, and then you know, I became a normal, funny and wild girl. So it's really like I still have, you know, I'm really so grateful for myself. And then also that somehow I was also lucky to have this connection, because many people don't have this connection, and then it's very hard for them. And then, for example, like what you are working with the women who end up in abusive relationships, it's so easy. And this, for example, never happened to me. So it's really, that's why I believe that the work, getting into the body, you know, and the somatic work and connecting to our pelvis, where we have our power and we know who we are, that this is such an important thing. And I'm so lucky that I got this interest in belly dance as a girl, you know, like before, I always count times before I was in Germany. So with 8, I came to Germany. So like before I was, so before I was 8, I was already fascinated by belly dancers, gypsies, anything that's like not the normal Polish thing, or later the normal German thing. And this is really like what got me interested in the pelvis. And then why do some women have this power, you know, because these dancers, they are just so charismatic. And then, you know, I wanted to know what is it and what is sexuality. Like before I learned this in school, like when you first learn this in school, how it works, you know, I was already interested in becoming a femme fatale and having many men, you know, like this is so totally ridiculous. And since I can remember, I always wanted to have a husband. So it's also like an early obsession. And, yes, and this really led me down the path. So of course, I studied architecture, but I was already also dancing and building my career as a belly dancer. And I had this very specific vision that wasn't there anywhere in the world. And I really believe it's because I didn't know that I was spiritual, but I was somehow connected to something higher, or like my higher self. I had this vision of how a belly dance show would be for the audience to enjoy it, and how it could transform the lives, because belly dance is all about love. Belly dance is only done to love songs, like it's only love, love, love. That's why it's so interesting and intriguing. And I wanted to share this, you know, like you said at the beginning, before we press play, the heart connection.
Yes.
And that's what I felt. I felt this, like the heart connection to everybody who was making these songs, who have ever danced to these songs, and all the humans who always laugh and have this. And then I wanted to transform this and transport this into stage shows, and belly dance was like normally done in restaurants, you know, you get your money into your bra. And I said, it's not what it is. It's this art form that people don't see it if you're just jiggling your breasts, you know. It's then you know, and then through this really drove me to make these amazing shows and connect with agencies, work for big companies, and you know, like also doing TV, you know, and all these big events. I danced in big stadiums. I had an ensemble. I danced with live music, you know, like at the stage I even had a catering with everything, you know. So it was, I could create my amazing fairy tale experience for the, you know, for normal people who are normally not interested in belly dance because they think it's something sleazy or, you know, like only for fat people jiggling in. This is like in Germany. I don't know if it's international, but in Germany it's somehow, oh, belly dance is for fat people jiggling, you know, like it's very stigmatized. Like, it's also like, you know, like this weird fat shaming thing. It is really this, you know, wherever I was going, everybody was like, hey, you can't be a belly dancer, you don't have this fat belly, you know. There was so much like disgust, you know, around this topic. It was really, and you know, and where this actually comes from is that when women connect to this dance, and this is like a low effort exercise, it doesn't, you know, don't break your bones. So every woman can do this, and women do this at all ages and weights. And then they get so empowered, and then they go out on stage. And most dancers don't do this, you know, that's why you will not see an overweight ballerina showing off something because it's not, basically it's not there. But belly dance has this power that every woman, no matter what's going on in her life, you know, just say, I want to show this. I feel so good. I hated my body and now it's over, you know, like, and then, you know, and then they go out and then, but the public is still like fat shaming and what's that? So, you know, and this is how this cliche came around. And yeah, but that's actually, it's really, it's an amazing art form. And I created my own method from this because I saw that the Egyptian belly dancers did something special that all the other belly dancers around the world, also my first teachers, didn't do. And this pelvic floor connection, and they didn't even know what a pelvic floor is, you know, they just grew up dancing like this. And then I spent a lot of time figuring this out and then putting this into my method. This changed everything. You know, like this is really that, like a kind of like a keystone, you know, because I always felt, you know, I was amazing, I was famous, blah, 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 but I always felt like a fraud, like something was missing, you know, and I felt like something like right in me, like in my pelvis, something was not really there yet. Although I was doing, you know, yoni yoga, Kama Sutra, everything, but somehow I didn't really understand the pelvic floor, you know? So, you know, I connected to the pelvic floor, the belly dance, and all of it. And you can see I'm a very obsessive person. So I was learning and studying and putting everything together. And I already also had a dance school by 2005. So it's a long time ago. So people, I'm 44. So I did this all my life. And then I started teaching, and the women, you know, they had the same interest like me, and I didn't know this. You know, I thought they will just come to me because I'm this famous belly dancer. They just want to, and of course, this was like the driver. You know, like I saw this later when we changed the branding, and then we took the famous belly dancer out of the equation. It wasn't that easy to advertise. Because it's, of course, everybody was, oh, who's that? What's that? Da, da, da. So this curiosity was also inspiring. But then, like what they actually wanted, when I showed them how to feel, how to sense, how to enjoy, this is where they ended up, you know, not when I showed them all the cool techniques and how to do a split, you know. They were not lighting up there, but they were lighting in sensing and feeling themselves. For me, you know, in my early 20s was so crazy that I had something to share. For these women, they were much more, I was so, you know, I had so much respect for them, you know, because they were, you know, like real women. And they had, they had the same issues. And then I realized, oh, we all have the same issues. We all don't feel safe and loved and like we belong. We don't like our bodies and all those things. And this was really like also really very gratifying to see the impact that I'm having, and that everything I'm interested in is really super, super important. So everything that sparks my interest and my joy, it brings me closer to the truth. And then I share this with the women, and they're all like, because not everybody has the time. Some of us do this professionally, and then we have the time to do this.
Yeah.
And then us, if you work 8 hours, you will not, do another education.
No.
So, yeah, and I have never worked like in a real office, so I was always crazy.
Yeah, but what you are doing, I would say to the people that is listening also, that you have made your own technique, how to connect with the pelvic floor, and you have called the technique pussy yoga. And what I have got from it is great, and I am recommending it to everybody. And for me personally, I had so much pelvic pain that I had to use crutches, and also like a chair, a wheelchair. So when I started to connect with my body, I recognized that I had lived only in my head in so many years. And many people lives in their head because they are so afraid of being in their body, because they don't know what is going to happen when they are in the body. But the journey for me, and also when I found you, Coco, I think 3 years ago or something. And then I started to do some pelvic floor exercises in the belly dance course that you have. And I saw that something was happening. And then I understand that I have to take this education. It came from somewhere inside of me. And I know that this is the missing link in my program, because you have to connect with the core. You have to connect with your power that is in your yoni, that the power, the female power. So, and when you have been also in that you are all being afraid and being in the masculine, then you can't find the power inside of you. But when you start to relax, and what you said, that you are feeling safe and loved, then you start to connect with your body, and then the Shakti energy is starting to move.
Yeah, and then we connect to a deeper, wiser power within us.
Yeah.
And then we don't need to hold on, to this construct of power that we learned, that we saw. Oh, that's beautiful. I didn't know that you had this experience with the wheelchair. It's really incredible.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow, but also like you did the work yourself. So, like that's also a big passion of me, having these tools, and then creating the space where you feel empowered and you do these things. And then but you always do it, you always show up for yourself, and you can decide how deep you want to take this work.
Yes. And that is when I have started to talk about also the pelvis floor, many people is saying that, but that is not for me. Women that said that is not for me, and I cry inside myself, because it is for us, everybody.
Yeah.
It is for us. Everybody needs to get into the power. And when we are in the power, then we can get to do the things that we need to do in this world. Because I think that we have some life exercises or life purpose. We have a life purpose that we need to do. And if we are not finding our power, then we can't do that.
Yeah, but it's not only that, like, we have to do something, but it is in us and it wants to live.
Yeah.
Then we can't, you know, like we can't let our soul live when we don't open up and look what's inside and let it breathe.
Yes, that's so true. And through dance, then you are just being.
Yeah. Oh, that's so amazing. And I'm also so happy that you are now in the Pussy Yoga facilitator training. So you are one of the first who will be facilitating. So everybody in the audience can already prepare themselves for Pussy Yoga with Heidi.
Yeah. I have I'm trying to figure out where I can do the Pussy Yoga here in Helsinki. So I'm trying to see where somewhere in Helsinki is going to be.
Yeah, but you know, the thing is, like, when women say it's not for me, they are so cut off and they don't even know the history. They even don't know that we lost the connection to the pelvis that is natural and that we all should be having, because the pelvis is like also like when everybody can imagine how does a human look. So the pelvis is right in the middle. It's the center of our musculoskeletal system, it's the center of our body. And when we're not connected there's something missing. And that's why we feel lost and we run around like headless chicken, you know? So that's actually really the key. And maybe if your listeners don't know how this happens, so, you know, as humans, like animals, we're of course sexual beings. And then through history, you know, through our religion, it just happened that sexuality became something to be ashamed of, something bad. And then through the Enlightenment movement, the mind became the superstar. The mind could control the body. And then the body was just like this lazy thing, you know, it only wants to eat and sex and sleep. And then the mind has to control it. And so we have this weird dichotomy, you know, it comes from the Christian liberalism, but it's also in many other religions too, and cultures then therefore. And if we don't know this, we just think, oh, that's the normality of life. So you have to get out of your everyday life and really look at the history. Like, for example, like traveling to a foreign country gives you also a better perspective on your own, you know, on your own funny country. How are you doing things? Maybe the others also have a point, you know, so this is the same thing. And then once you get into your body, once you feel this, it becomes an addiction. You never want to go home to the old feeling, because you know, this is me, you know, get a better feeling for all that you are, the aliveness, the power, the connection.
Yes.
So that's something we have to really transport this. That's why I do a lot of PR and media, and I'm always happy to come on anywhere to talk about this. So everybody really can understand that the pelvis is part of you and it's your centerpiece. And if you are not connected, this is where many of your issues come from, that you don't even know might stem from your body. You think, oh no, I just need to plan better or to organize myself better, get rid of my demons and, you know, like all those things. It's actually, it's also overthinking. So, and there's, thanks God, now the trauma therapy that is focused on the body is becoming more and more popular. It's everywhere. There are thousands of books and podcasts, and so that's really amazing that people get into, you know, that they see, there's real science behind it. You know, it's not just woo to be in your body. It's actually, this is how we heal. because the mind I was just quickly talking German a little bit. The mind isn't the king, you know, the mind isn't like the ruler of everything. The body is like our primal source of existence. Without the body, we're dead. And we have all those amazing instincts and, you know, all those amazing things that we just kill when we don't come home, when we don't feel. So I hope we made everybody really excited to feel their body. Maybe if you want, we can do an exercise together.
Yes. Yes.
So everybody, don't drive because now we will do a really nice exercise with closed eyes. So everybody can close their eyes. And if you are at home somewhere, just sit down and feel your body sitting and really sense how you chose to sit. So that's me sitting. Okay, so that's probably how you always sit, and really feel like what's going on in your pelvis and how is your pelvis resting on where you're sitting. How did you place your left leg and your right leg? And feel your left leg from the toes to the foot, the heel, the lower leg to the knee, and the upper part of your leg. And try to feel really inside this left leg, and also how this left leg reaches into your pelvis. And then let's feel the right leg from the toes. Really feel yourself from the inside to the foot, lower leg, knee, upper leg, and feel both legs really from the inside, and also how both legs are reaching into the pelvis and how your pelvis is sitting. And then on top of your pelvis, you have your belly, and you can feel the weight of your belly, the weight of your organs, your chest, and your back, your neck, and your head. Really feel also yourself behind your eyes, under your cheeks, under your hair. And then go to your arms. So feel from the left fingers through the lower arm to the upper arm, and how the arm reaches into the body. And then the right side, the fingers, hand, lower arm, upper arm. And now try to feel yourself, your whole body from the inside. And if you want, you can move in micro movements, because when we're sensing without moving, that's a great tool, but not accessible for everybody. Then we can be really, really focused. But then when we move our body a little bit, then we have different nerves that get activated in our fascia, in our connective tissue, that are stimulated by movement. And then this can help us to feel more of ourselves. And now feel, this is me. That's me in my wonderful body. And however you feel yourself, or whatever is accessible to you today, that's all fine. It's our starting point. And now sense how your breath is coming into your body. When I say breath coming into your body, where do you feel it? In the belly, in the chest, on the nose? Just follow your breath, how it flows in and out. When you breathe in, your rib cage opens, your diaphragm goes down, and it pushes softly down on your organs. And the organs move a little bit down towards your pelvic floor, and also the belly widens if you let it widen. And then when you breathe out, everything goes back into the original position. So when you breathe in, your lungs widen and open through your muscles and diaphragm, so the air can flow in. And when you breathe out, everything goes back to where we started. And if you let your belly and your pelvic floor relax, then they can work properly by themselves, doing their own breathing, basically workout. When we relax our pelvic floor, relax our belly, we get a really nice exercise and tone in our pelvic floor and our core, our belly muscles, the obliques, and the transverse abdomen. And now, when you feel your breath coming in and out, really sense down into your pelvis and feel if there's any movement that you can sense. So when you breathe in and the organs are pushed down, the pelvic floor widens. Let it widen, and then when you breathe out, it gets a little bit closer together. So the muscle fibers slide closer together. The pelvic floor basically shortens, so the muscles shorten. And when you breathe in, they become longer. But it's very important to know, this will help you to be able to relax more and train your pelvic floor with this soft breathing, is when you breathe in and your pelvic floor widens, it doesn't mean that the muscles are just stretching and slacking around. Your pelvic floor actively holds your organs in place without you doing any work. The pelvic floor does it by itself. It is called, it eccentrically contracts. So it becomes longer, but it's still holding. And this is a very important stage of any exercise, eccentrically contracting. And then when you breathe out, the pelvic floor concentrically contract, so the muscle fibers shorten. And just imagine this, if you can't really feel it yet in your pelvis. When you breathe in, the pelvic floor becomes wider, and when you breathe out, the pelvic floor shortens. And just sense into the area in your pelvis where you, at the moment, maybe you don't know much about your pelvic floor, but you might feel that there is some widening and shortening happening. And however you're sitting, you're probably feeling your sit bones. Your sit bones are the parts of your pelvis that are touching the surface where you're sitting on. If you're sitting on a hard surface, you can feel it very good. If you're sitting on a more cushiony surface, it's not so easy to feel. And now try to sense your sit bones on the left side and on the right side. Just sense them from the inside your body. And if you have trouble finding them, you can reach out with your hands down below your butt and try to find a bony, sticky out thing that's inside your butt, basically. So where you feel your skeleton through your muscles and tissue. And then if you have them, let everything go and just sit there and sense your both sit bones. So your pelvic floor is in between these two sit bones. And maybe you can feel the sit bones, the pelvic floor. And now let's drop the sit bones. So let them drop into where you're sitting. Just let it all go down, 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 down. And feel that with your consciousness, when you decide to drop and to sink, that it's actually possible to relax more. And maybe you feel that here and there in your pelvis, you're aligning a little bit more, you're organizing yourself more. So because your body loves being connected to your nervous system, to your mind. Your body loves to be felt and sensed from the inside. And whenever we make this connection, our body can self-actualize itself, it can reorganize itself to have a better posture and to just feel better about itself, to sense itself more, to know itself more. And when you let your sit bones drop down into the ground, maybe you can sense that your spine is aligning itself, that your posture is improving, maybe your head gets a better balance on your neck and you feel freer. And maybe you feel this peacefulness, this sense of home, this sense of safety in your body. Because when you connect our pelvis and our pelvic floor, it's scientifically proven that we get this sense of safety and home. So many methods like yoga or Chinese medicine, they have this like in their ancient wisdom. But we have found this out. There have been so many studies now connecting the pelvic floor to the feelings of safety and connecting pelvic floor issues with depression and anxiety. So it's scientifically backed, although many cultures have known this before we had the science. And maybe you can sense this now in your body. And now stay connected to this and see what emotions are you feeling. Sense into your heart or your belly area, maybe your throat. This is where we mostly have emotions. And just see what's coming up. If it's a feeling of joy or sadness, and just let it come and be here. Just be witnessed. It's also a very important part of our Pussy Yoga experience that we connect and hold space for everything that's there. So that's the beginning, to just sense and experience. Our body only shows us what we're ready to hold. And then slowly stay connected with this inside world, where you slowly open your eyes and not lose touch with yourself. And look around and try to feel yourself, to not lose this touch. And stay connected while you keep on doing what you were doing. For example, listening to our conversation. Just feel how you feel about the info that's coming into your system.
Oh, that was so amazing. Thank you so much, Coco, for this exercise. And now you that are listening can do you feel the difference just by doing this? And when we understand the power that we have inside of us, wow, how much we can accomplish in our lives. So thank you so much, Coco, for that. Can you tell a little bit more about how you are working and where people can find you?
Yes. So I have basically like two different methods. Actually, it's way more. It's because it's such a huge body of work. But we have basically like the belly dancing. So where we have the belly dance and pelvic floor connection. So we dance from the inside out. And then we have Pussy Yoga, which is really a deep dive into our female bodies with mind, soul. And we touched on like tools to really heal your own trauma, you know, like, so it's really like, it's whether it can be like physical issues, physical traumas, things like incontinence, all those things, or, you know, like tight pelvic floors, vaginism, all those issues, but also like really emotional pain and not feeling safe. So we have these two methods, and you can find them when you go to coco-berlin.com. Now I always want to say it in Spanish, .com. So cute. And Coco Berlin, when you Google me, you will also find a lot of free things. I have tons of YouTube videos. On Instagram, there's also tons of free content, practices, and I do workshops every now and then, but like my heart is really in the deep immersions. So like the pussy yoga immersions that you did, Heidi, where we had like a 3-month experience where you really deep dive into this work. And this is like, I love this program. It's just amazing because this is where you get the most like transformation when you really commit. Okay, 3 months, just me, it's not much time, and it's not 1 hour a week, everybody's 1 hour a week, and it's such a deep experience when you just say yes to yourself. And then we also have the facilitator training from Pussy Yoga, and we have the teacher training from Essence of Belly Dance. So Essence of Belly Dance, that we have online programs and a lot of things. Like it's really, I really wonder how did I ever build all of this? Like there's even more, but like this is like what like if you're into dancing, come to Essence of Belly Dance. If you're into pelvic floor and sensing and femininity, come to Pussy Yoga.
And also you have written a beautiful book where I love the book, and what I love with the book is that you are illustrating how to do it, how you do the exercises. So it is easy to follow, and also that you are talking about the connections and about how you can use the different techniques in different kind of situations in life. Like, so I love the book.
Thank you. Yes, I'm also really proud. Like I put everything I wanted every woman on the planet to know into one book. This was my first book, international bestseller. Now it's coming out in 7 languages. So
Wow.
It's crazy. And then I have also the second book where later, so like how many years later, 3-4 years later, I had so many more things I wanted women to know. So I wrote the Body Love book, and it's only out in German at the moment, but it's already translated into English. So 2024, let's see how many languages we'll do. So yeah, thank you for reminding me of the books. It's just so much. But with the power of the pelvic floor, you become unstoppable.
Yeah, and it is so important, because when you are sharing in your books, I haven't read the last book because it is in German, but the first book, it is so good. You have explained it so good, how it is to be a woman. And yeah, so
because that's also really my big passion. I love that you started the whole podcast on with passion, because that's
yeah.
like thing. But this is also a big passion. How can I package the complex stuff into easy things that every woman, and when I wrote this, I was thinking of women, for example, like you. I was just writing for you. So like the Pussy Yoga is actually, I had like a 25-year-old woman in mind. And then for Body Love, I had like a 35-year-old woman in mind. So I always love to have like one person, and then I just try to make everything just perfect, so she has everything she needs.
Yeah, so amazing. And also I love your programs. So I am so happy to see what is going to happen in the program that we are in now, and also in the future. And it has been such a pleasure and honor to have you on my podcast today, Coco, and that you had time to do it today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Heidi. And I'm really happy that you wanted to have me on your amazing podcast. And yes, I wish you all a beautiful day. Sense your body. Take this one exercise with you. And if you forget it, scroll back on the podcast and do it again and again.
I will make it like so everybody can find that exercise and see that this exercise they can do. So I will cut it and make it like so thank you so much for being in this podcast today, and thank you all the listeners. I hope that you take this knowledge with you because it is so important for us women.